First of all, I have just a sincere spirit and sense of gratitude. And I just wanted to just share a little bit about that because there are, this office, 18 months ago, you were so kind to, appoint me to the role. And I had the pleasure of having Don Marie join me as part of the team and some other folks that have helped the assessor's office really transform into that high-performance team, being very efficient and very effective. And, obviously I look at, doing it at the lowest cost to the taxpayer. And, I'm just very, very, very happy that being in this role that we've accomplished a lot of that here. And I know that restoring the public trust and honor to the office, I think I can for sure say it has returned and will continue on that road. But there was another project that you were so kind to look at me as being a technology leader and being able to look at this one project called the Mars Project, which you've seen for many years. And I'm here to say to you that when you approved the PC or 05 new contract, it allowed my team to manage this the way it should be managed. And the results of that have been just fantastic. So I'd like to go to the next slide here. This makes up really the Mars core team that I just want to share with you. And these are the names of our technology folks that have been just fantastic, but also the team of OET, Winfield's team has just been fantastic, the collaboration that we've had, but also the collaboration with Esri Canada. So when we talk about a partnership, with all the stakeholders, I would just say to you, I'm very, very proud that, we are on track. And I know that we talked about February of 2022 of going live, and we're here to talk a little bit more about that. So with that, I want to say thank you for allowing me to lead this team along with my executive team as well to take us to where we're at. And we just like to give you an update on how well we've been doing. And, Don Marie, I'd like to turn this over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. And good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Thank you for having us here this morning. We're going to give you a brief update on the status of the project that we all know and love as Mars, and where we're at with that today. Please feel free to ask any questions as we go along. We're going to be talking a little bit about what's going on with the project, how that's progressing, the budget, all of those things. So hopefully we'll answer any questions that you might have about that project. But we're very excited about where we are today. I'm also very excited to introduce to you Mark Kramer. He's our Chief of Innovation and Technology for the Assessor's Office. And he had an opportunity to present remotely during our budget process, you may recall. But I'm excited to turn this over to him today to walk through the status of Mars and what Mars is becoming.
Perfect. Thank you, Dawn. Good morning, Chairman and Supervisors. Mark Kramer. Nice to meet you guys in person. Yeah, we'll take off on an update on Mars. And as Dawn said, welcome any questions as we go through these slides and at the end as well. So project update, we did PCR 05, as you guys know, in November of 2020. As Eddie mentioned, provided us some time to pull the project together and bring scope in tight, ensure that we have a successful project. And we've been working steadily at that. So proud to be here today. Let's see here. Most importantly, on track to go live in February. And that's a small statement that has been a whole lot of hours by the staff to get there. We are currently on the final sprint of delivery of code and software. So of course, as we deliver each one of those, our risk of unknowns goes down with that. Our ability to test goes up. So we're in a really good place there. This is a huge project, so I like to say, barring anything unforeseen, we are on track for February. we are diligently turning over stones each day to find and see what doesn't work. But it's a very engaged team in that process, has grown far beyond just the core team of people that we had on it and has expanded out to the assessor's office as a whole. So we're going to focus on a few things. You're going to see some new terms. The project we've known as Mars for a long time is beginning to get some corporate branding from our vendor. We are going to talk a lot about testing today, which I think is a fantastic place to be. We are going to still talk about some challenges ahead, and then we'll do a quick financial overview of where we're at. So branding, so what we've known as Mars for many, many years has now a corporate brand by Esri Canada called Assessment Analyst GAMA, GAMA being an acronym for Geographic Assisted Mass Appraisal. And they are actively marketing and selling. We, of course, don't get all the details on that, but we believe they've got a couple contracts either in the signing process or perhaps signed. So that's a great sign. That means we get to become a community of software users who drive the evolution of the product. It means it's sustainable into the future. So that's a really good place for our vendor to be and ultimately helps us. So as I said, testing, user acceptance testing is a kind of a formal final testing, if you will, where we get to go through the product and
Supervisor, just a quick question.
Sure.
When it comes to that, I think I asked a long time ago, because this is a new system that other communities are going to be able to take a look at, and this is going to correspond to business growth of a business that's trying to help us get there, but we've used county money to get to this point, right? So do we have any ownership at all or ownership value, or will Maricopa County derive any revenue because we're the first in?
Are you thinking that that we'll get some royalties from this?
Yes. I think I asked that question a long time ago before that predated
Right. I'm going to turn this over to Dawn Marie because we've had some discussions about this.
We have, thank
Yeah.
you. So we will not necessarily have ownership over the patent or anything along those lines. What we do, however, and I know, Mark, you can speak to the specifics on this, we do get a considerably decreased fee for, I believe, the first 10 years of use
Okay.
for the project.
But so in some way, the Maricopa County taxpayer is going to derive at least a little bit of value in
Being the first customer, that's correct.
Great. Okay, that's great. And would you know some of the communities that are looking at that? Are they as large as Maricopa County, or are they smaller communities?
Yeah, Supervisor Hickman, I don't know specific names. I believe one of them is a Canadian province.
Province? Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry.
You bet.
Okay.
All right, so testing, we're in that final testing phase, and we're really, user acceptance testing is November 30th through December 20th is the formal period. I like to think that we've entered a stage now where code's completed, and we are really doing a lot of informal testing and preparation to be sure that those 3 weeks are fully effective and that we give it the full, the full test that it should have. So that's where we are today. That's the world we live in, hour by hour. So types of testing, just to put it out there, brand new systems. So there are things that we worry about that we wouldn't maybe if we were the 20th customer. Performance testing, load testing, can it handle the volume that we are as a county? We are definitely on the large end of organizations that would use a product like this, so certainly want to do that. Of course, valuation testing. If we don't produce the right values for our parcels, all is lost, really. So where we are today, 98.6% was the last number. I know that that's changed a bit since we put the slide deck in for the positive, which is good. We're matching valuations to what we produce out of our current system. That does leave the 1.4% remainder, which of course is where we remain to be focused, and we have another 6 months yet to focus on them. So we're quite confident we're in the right direction. We're where we need to be in terms of producing the end result that we're after. Performance testing, we are recording and we're doing automated testing. During our on-site final testing, we will be putting butts in chairs and bringing a real load and a mix of use and that kind of thing during that time. Gap testing, so we are just getting those last couple of last sprint of release, so we're still looking over the product to make sure that there's no gaps in functionality. And then the other one that's on here is what we call permutation testing. So there are many, many different types of transactions that will impact land value or property value. So lining up all those different permutations of testing to be sure that it's thorough and that we've got everything captured. So that's an ongoing work that we're getting ready for that final acceptance period. Change management. I think we always have to remember, right, people, process, and technology. We've talked a lot about the technology up to this point. Assessor's office hasn't seen a technology change like this in 20+ years. So getting all of our people prepared, how to operate business a little differently with a very, very new tool. Change management is a key component of that. And there are regular weekly updates, commitments from the management team to have their teams ready and measured progress. So training, of course, is the other element of that. So we work our processes, and then we have formal training for our staff. And we have 60+ training courses that are being developed. We're measuring progress of who's taken them, who still needs to take them. There's quizzes at the end of each one and so on to ensure competency.
So who provides that training?
That training is largely a mixture of modes, really. A lot of it is online training that we do through the county's hub system. So we build digital content that we then track courses just like you would online training. And then we have some what we call Learn It Lives. So they're more workshop style. Get everybody on. Of course, it's COVID, so we're still doing a lot of video meeting and conferences for that. We are trying to figure out, when we get to this final acceptance, how do we bring people safely on site and do it in person to do that. All right. So challenges. Project of this size, even at this state, we still have things that we're watching. I talked about performance some already, so move on from that. Bulk valuations. Can we value 1.8 million in parcels and accounts in a time that works for our business? I'm confident right now that we can. We've done different scenarios where we've run very large sets of data. So we're focused on really not only can we run it, do we get the right values? Report server is a key piece that we are putting together. It's actually made great progress again just since we put the slide deck in. So we're not quite to the finish line, but it's on track. Let's see, travel restrictions. Yeah, it's likely that our Canadian vendor is not going to be leaving Canada for final acceptance. So the good news is that we've been working this way for 18 months. We have learned how to work this way. We've learned how to be effective. So I think we're confident that we're gonna do this. Notice of change. We had a couple of features within the software, notice of change and resolutions that, yeah, they were more work than we anticipated. We've battled through that. Those are the two of the features that are in this final scenario that we've just released. We've been given a kind of a preview with the development team for an afternoon. Our team is feeling like we're there, but of course we still, again, back to testing. We need to do that testing on it to get it all the way there. So, and we've had to make some adjustments, in order to, and given a couple other places to ensure that that critical feature gets done. Strategies, if you haven't heard it already, testing and testing some more. Different types of testing and remaining vigilant on that. It's really, I would say in addition to that, just preparation. The more iterations, the more time that our staff gets on this, the better. I think Mars might be the single most used word in our office right now, which is a really great thing. So on I guess this kind of a transition here between sort of an operational update and turning over to Dawn for budget updates. So if there are any kind of questions on the operational side of where we stand, I'd be glad to take those.
Any questions for Mark? Okay. Yeah, Vice Chair.
Just thanks for the presentation. Just a real basic question. Is this going to impact valuations? And if so, how?
Yeah, no, that is a great question, Supervisor Gates. No, the goal is for this not to impact valuations, right? We are putting tons of energy into this. One of the advantages of being customer one is that many of our approaches to the industry get adopted into the core product. And that's the reason that you're seeing that 98.6% match. You know, models have groups. So there's residential properties, there's commercial properties, industrial properties, and so on. So right now, we're working through each of those groups, and we're down to some of the smaller ones that make up that last 1.4%. But the goal is to stay on it until we get that last 1.4 done. After that, of course, there will be the regular changes to property that happened because of the market and because of our adjustment and what the assessor does.
I do want to make one comment. And Mark is just, you know, being so humble here, but the original system that our office uses and continues to use, you remember the Oracle 6i, which was, to me, running on a, you know, Nintendo 64 system that was non-supported by the vendor. You know, through all of these months and 18 months at the very beginning, it was a single point of failure for us. If this system were to go down, our office was shut down. So as Mark's team was working on Mars, we were working on our parallel strategy of getting that system modernized and supported. So I just want to share with you, as Mark has been working on the Mars project, we've also maintained our system as we use today on a system that's not a Nintendo 64 and is supported. So I do want to say, you know, again, when I talk about gratitude, that was one of those very key business items that both Don Marie and I would lose sleep at night, because if that system were to go down, we would be in trouble. So I just want to publicly want to thank Mark and his team for doing that, as well as continuing on with the Mars, you know, efforts.
Thank you. Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And if I may also add to Supervisor Gates' question about the valuation, one of the direction that we gave to our team was to ensure that we had the most accurate valuation possible. And some of that means that we're really scrubbing the data that we have now. So it wasn't just simply make sure that we match the values that we have, but make sure that we have the most accurate values. So we've been very pleased to find that they're matching, which means we made sure we have the most accurate values and they're matching, which means we had accurate values before as well. So that's been a great benefit for us to be able to audit all of that data and ensure not only that we have good values going forward, but the values that we have sent out to the members of our community are good as well.
Thank you. That's important.
So, Mr. Chairman, we wanted to conclude by just really quickly going through the budget, not in great detail, although we're happy to answer questions you might have. But we wanted to refer back to the conversations that we had during the PCR 05 conversation, presentation to the board, as well as during the budget presentations, because we did ask for not only your flexibility in the timing to allow us to be able to put forward a great project, but for the funding to be able to support it as well. And I'm very pleased to come before you today and let you know that the funding that we had requested through those two processes, we're still on track for that. As you recall, it would that funding that we requested during PCR 05 would require a couple of different board actions, because we were covering not only capital but also operating, not only this fiscal year but the following as well. But we're still in line with that original request, and we just wanted to make sure that we were able to share that with you today.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
I think the only thing that I would add, Mr. Chairman, we're excited that we were able to come to you with a lot of great news today. It's not always been an easy ride for certain, and we've said many times how much we appreciate the partnership with a lot of the county departments from budget and procurement through OET. Ed Winfield and Michael Miller in particular with the OET staff, for those that have had the opportunity to work with them, they're very good about asking just the right critical questions, which was exactly what we needed to be able to hone in on high-risk factors and resolve them before they became problems. So thank you for your support, helping us to get a great system off the ground here. We're going to be able to provide excellent service for 1.8 million parcels and accounts in Maricopa County.
Well, thank you so much. And certainly, as you well know, this has been an area of frustration for us here, even before I became a supervisor. It's very, very encouraging to see the progress you've made in the last 18 months. So thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, go ahead.
speaking of being kind of the old man dealing with the last assessors group, I just wanted to let you guys know how much of a better gut feel I have with these presentations that you guys have made over these last 18 months. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's your professionalism or being able to answer questions or let me get back to you, or you get back to us right here. Like I ask a question and it gets answered. And I just want to let you know, Eddie, how much I appreciate that and how much the great changes that you've made in this area. It was a tough time for our board dealing with the last mess. And I just feel good about you guys being here presenting to this and knowing that we have something coming down the pike that I think that the Maricopa County taxpayer is going to be very, very happy with. So thank you all for that.
Well, thank you. We are talking about a ribbon cutting ceremony, and would love to invite you in February. In fact, we're going to have Leslie come back and maybe snip the ribbon. But again, we'd like to, honor that, because there's been a lot of effort, a lot of work from a lot of team members, and I think it would be a fantastic celebration when that happens. So I'd like to invite all of you to come.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Assessor Cook. Appreciate the team you put together.
Okay, well, thank you.